Hello and welcome to CATSweek. I'm Annalise Porman. At the Election Board meeting on December 1st, Election Supervisor Karen Wheeler shared the names of the most recent late CFA4 filings.
So Ashley Pirani was 1 day late. She actually came in on that day at 2:01, but that is considered being a day late. And then Elizabeth Sensenstein was 1 day late. Also, she came in at 1:23, a little closer to the noon deadline. Judy Sharp was 14 days late. She brought her CFA4 in on November 3rd. Kate Wiltz was 3 days late. She brought hers in October 23rd. And then Erin Wyatt was 7 days late, October 27th. So those are all done, accepting of the penalties of what you want to assess. Those did not, I believe, none of those have been late previously.
Wheeler explained the sliding penalty scale from first-time offenders receiving no fine to fourth-time offenders being fined 100% of the penalty up to $1,000. Board member Donovan Garlitz said that they should consider being less generous with penalty forgiveness. Wheeler agreed with him.
Yeah, perhaps for January's meeting, we need to talk about our generosity and reevaluate that. Because
I would agree.
I think this is 3 warnings is,
Yeah.
again, I think I said this at the last time we spoke about this, but I didn't have to give kindergartners 3 warnings when I was a principal. So this is the complete lack of accountability on just a form. Seems quite wild to me. Take it for what it is. It's one person's opinion, but I think we should at least put that on an agenda early in the year to discuss how we're going to deal with this in the future. But that's just me.
County Clerk Nicole Brown added that the candidates are well prepared to meet the deadlines since the county gives them the information they need ahead of time. She also shared why she believes the deadline should be taken seriously.
And if I could dovetail with a couple of things. First, it is always the candidate's responsibility to know those dates. But first, as a courtesy, you prepare a candidate packet, and that candidate packet lists the deadlines.
Absolutely.
And the fact that it's due at noon, not the end of business day. So they have that packet that they can always go back to with their campaign, other campaign things. And then on top of that, as a courtesy, you have reached out to every candidate well in advance of the deadline to let them know, remind them of that date, that it's due at noon, so that by the time it comes before the board as having been late, there have been at least 2 opportunities to meet the deadline when we did not have to do that, because it is always the candidate's responsibility to meet that deadline and turn that report in.
Yes, exactly.
Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
And so it has always been the board's perspective, at least as long as I have been on the board, that we take this seriously, because if you can't report your campaign finance information, how then can the county trust you as a candidate that if you were elected, you would do what you were supposed to do? And I know that my predecessor worked to get these meetings in this room so that it would be taken seriously, televised, and they understand that this is a very serious issue. So when you see the number of candidates in this instance, it appears that those candidates do not take the deadline seriously.
The Election Board will consider making the deadline more strict and adopting Marion County's model at their next meeting on January 5th. And we'll have more CATSweek after this message.
I'm at risk of thinking there's just no point in trying.
risk of looking in the mirror and hating what I see.
I'm at risk of regretting what I do, just to join the crowd.
I'm at risk of being told not to tell. And you would never know it by looking at me.
But with Girls Inc. in my corner,
There for me, every day, believing in me.
Showing me what's possible.
I can be strong enough to respect myself and my body.
to say I can rather than I can't,
To say no with no apology.
To be a leader.
to finish school,
To own my future.
To break the cycle.
Girls Inc. believes every girl can succeed. That's why the trained professionals of Girls Inc. are there for our girls every day, supporting, mentoring, and guiding them in a safe, girls-only environment. Building bonds that last for years and change that lasts a lifetime. Girls Inc. gives girls the tools they need to boldly face challenges, to resist peer pressure, to be the first in their families to go to college, to beat the odds. With Girls Inc. in her corner, every girl can be healthy, confident, and resilient. She'll do more than dream about her potential. She'll reach it.
With you in my corner. With you in my corner,
I will not be another statistic.
I will fight for myself.
For my future.
With you in my corner, I will win.
Fuel her fire and she will change the world. Girls Inc. Inspiring all girls to be strong, smart, and bold.
Welcome back to CATSweek. The Bloomington City Council Committee of the Whole met on November 30th. The council first heard an ordinance to appropriate funds from the general fund into various departments. Director of Auditing and Financial Systems, Cheryl Gilliland, presented on the appropriations and shared that most departments need assistance with increased gas prices.
Appropriation Ordinance number 22-05 is our comprehensive 2022 year-end appropriation. The overall additional appropriation request is $828,000, which covers 11 different funds. 3 of the funds are requesting additional appropriations, while the remaining 8 funds are requesting transfers. For the general fund, all requests will be covered as transfers between departments and categories. This will allow coverage of changes between initial budget, prepared, and actual operation expenses. For 2022, the net effect on the actual appropriation from the general fund is 0. Hence, there will be no impact on the fund balance or tax rates. Within the memo that we provided, you will see that additional funds or transfer requests are mostly needed to cover the unexpected fuel and utility costs which we experienced in 2022.
She outlined which departments needed additional appropriations and why they needed them.
For Public Works Administration, they're requesting an additional $15,500 for Category 4, which is capital. This will cover a portion of unexpected capital purchases. In addition, the department requests a transfer of funds from Category 3 to Categories 2 and 4, which will cover higher than expected fuel costs and provide the remaining amount needed in Category 4. Economic and Sustainability Development Department is requesting an additional $155,450 in Category 3 to cover the cost of unbudgeted maintenance at the Waldron. In addition, a transfer of $60,685 from Category 1 is needed to fully cover the Waldron maintenance, plus higher than expected anticipated fuel costs in Category 2. Engineering is requesting $283,027 additional appropriations. Of this total, $74,904 is needed in Category 1 to cover additional staffing costs associated with the Meridian project, and $208,123 is needed in Category 4. Category 4 funds will cover a portion of a land purchase. For legal, $123,491 is requested for Category 3 to cover excess outside counsel fees due primarily to annexation, litigation, and the Meridian fiber deal. This department is also requesting a transfer of $35,109 from Category 1 to fully cover the need in Category 3. The Mayor's Office requests $15,000 in Category 3 to cover higher than anticipated costs for technology, software, and equipment. Hand requests $215,850 in Category 1 to cover personnel expenses, which are normally covered by a supplement from grant funds. Public Works, the Facilities Division, is requesting $19,900 to cover both Categories 2 and 3. In addition, they're requesting a transfer from Category 1 in the amount of $20,280, and $60,000 in Category 4 is requested to cover Categories 2 and 3. Combined, these funds will assist with covering the purchase of battery-powered equipment for use at the City Hall and other facilities. Plus, funds will assist in covering higher than anticipated City Hall energy costs.
The committee voted to recommend the approval of the appropriations, with 6 members voting yes and 3 members voting to abstain. Next, Mayor John Hamilton asked the council to consider an ordinance to approve general obligation bonds to build and renovate public safety facilities. Hamilton shared the plans to create a joint police and fire headquarters at the Showers Building, along with other fire department building renovations.
So to outline planned investments of $34 million tonight. This is, I believe, the largest investment in public safety in our city's history. It is funded primarily with $26 million in net bond proceeds, with an additional $8 million from 2 other sources, our CREED funds and projected sale of property. Let me begin. We've investigated a wide variety of options, from building new buildings to expanding on existing buildings to buying and rehabbing for both police and fire needs. After extensive review, we've settled on rehabbing 3 existing buildings and building 1 new building. The 4 projects, as they've been outlined, I know, in a detailed memo, are first to purchase and rehabilitate the 64,000 square foot Showers Building CFC portion, behind us, if you will, into a headquarters for police and for fire administration, including civilian and non-sworn personnel, about 2/3 of the funding for that. Second, to rehab into really almost an as-new downtown fire station number 1, modernized and upgraded. Third, to rehab the North Woodlawn Avenue fire station number 3, our station in most dire need of upgrading and rehabilitation. And fourth, to construct a new fire operations and logistics center at the public safety campus on South Walnut. These are forward-looking and transformational investments that you have made possible. The 3 fire buildings, all necessary and critical to maintaining our excellence, our equity, our efficiency and service, And as to the most significant investment in dollar amounts with the showers building, let me just briefly mention several ways it is so important. First, new fire and police offices will be top-notch, modern, high-quality, upgraded office, moving out of decades-old, cramped, insufficient facilities, indeed subject to flooding that we've seen. Second, the ability to combine fire and police administration together, a true public safety team, including the growing non-sworn capacities, and really reflecting the evolution of an integrated public safety approach. This will allow that merging and coordination in better ways of fire and police.
Architectural consultant Deb Kuntz presented on the studies the consultants have done to ensure the projects meet stakeholder needs.
So there were several studies that were done for this building, for this initiative, I should say. And as we think about, the projects that have been identified on the first slide, we'll go to the second slide and really look at the facility studies that have been done in preparation for this. So for on slide number 2, there is the CFC Showers Building Space Analysis and Architectural Assessment that was done by Spring Point Architects in association with a national architect, KBA, who is a police and security expert. There was also a showers building analysis on the life safety, mechanical, and electrical components done by Tabor Bruce Architects. Both Spring Point and Tabor Bruce are both local architects to Bloomington. And then there was a fire department due diligence and redesign that was done by Martin Riley Architects and Engineers on all of the fire facilities that were identified. Of course, we have taken that information. We have revalidated the space assumptions, particularly with the police team. There was a lot of time spent on revalidating the space needs, incorporated all of the preliminary study information, but also applied some current cost models, and also how do we reuse some of the existing space to make it as efficient as possible.
Kuntz said she has worked on 2 other renovation projects that have moved the police department into new facilities or added more square footage.
I've personally worked on 2 active police station projects, one with Lafayette, where they have actually built a new 90,000 square foot facility. They've been in their existing city hall for a long time, but they're actually moving into a new facility across the street. And then also with the city of Carmel, where we're doing a significant addition to their building. It's about a 30,000 square foot addition to their police department. So those are the, pulling on that information is how we got to some of these changes. But all of that is, basis for the information that we are going to share next.
At the November 30th meeting of the Monroe County Commissioners, Health Administrator Lori Kelly provided an update on the County Health Department.
Just a few updates. Locally, we have seen around a 20% increase in COVID-19 hospital admissions this week. BA.5 remains to be the most prevalent variant. Local RSV cases have decreased. And the flu shots are available at the public health clinic. You can call 812-353-3244.
Then the commissioners heard a subgrant agreement for the Monroe County Health Department. Health Administrator Lori Kelly elaborated on the agreement.
So this contract was first presented on the November 2nd work session. This is something that I'm very excited about. I think it's a great opportunity for us to be able to increase access to family pregnancy counseling services, long-acting reversible contraceptive devices for the public.
The commissioners approved the Path4You subgrant agreement unanimously. And we'll have more CATSweek after this message.
For hurting families in Monroe County.
A contribution to children who are vulnerable and in need of an advocate.
A staff that goes above and beyond to support and advocate for children in need of services.
The web of remarkable people who are dealing with difficult situations.
So many young people that are in need of help and trying to find a stable family a stable place to live. Without the CASAs to make that happen, many of them would be unable to find a good home.
I love being that voice for the child who can't speak for themselves in court.
It takes me out of my comfort zone, and it also helps others.
CASA means supporting our community.
Being a CASA is making sure that your village is healthy and whole, and that the children in your village will someday be able to help the village as well.
A child who doesn't have a voice, maybe in their family situation or a school situation, now has a voice that can advocate for them.
I really enjoy working with children that are going through difficult times and letting them know that I care about their future.
We are privileged with our charge of representing the best interest of children. And so therefore we can advocate for exactly what they need without restriction, focusing on their best interest.
Welcome back to CATSweek. The Bloomington City Council Climate Action and Resilience Committee met on November 30th to discuss the next steps in moving forward with a climate action plan that would phase out gas-powered lawn, garden, and off-road equipment. Councilmember Isabel Piedmont Smith asked if snowblowers would be included in the ordinance. Councilmember Matt Flaherty replied and explained what would be included in the ordinance.
I think it's the plan says off-road, citywide off-road and lawn equipment. I think anything that is fossil fuel, that is driven by fossil fuel combustion, any internal combustion engines for off-road equipment fall under this purview. There's much less of a mention around like construction equipment, right? Which heavy duty equipment is going to be much slower in the transition. It might be more about clean fuels. And it might be a longer phase-in timeline for when electrification is really viable. So there's different categories of equipment, right? In the lawn area, we can talk about two-stroke versus four-stroke engines. We can talk about the sort of cost categories of equipment, riding mowers versus push mowers, that kind of thing. That may have substantially different considerations in terms of availability of equipment, cost of replacement, all that kind of stuff. But yes, I think technically, the way I read it anyway, the snow blowers would fall under this.
Councilmember Ron Smith said an incremental approach to implementing the strategy would be best and suggested that they begin with phasing out leaf blowers.
Doing it in some kind of incremental approach as opposed to all at once, I think we'll just freak people out if we do it all at once. But leaf blowers, yeah, people can understand that, and it's noisy and obnoxious, and then it comes along with highly polluting. I was looking at the literature across the internet today, and there's lots of places that are doing, and they're starting with leaf blowers, it appears, that are gas powered. So
Flaherty agreed that the leaf blowers would be the easiest to replace, and other machinery might take longer. He added that it would have a bigger impact if they are able to get Indiana University, county government, local school districts, and businesses to follow suit.
At least for what we own, like string trimmers, and blowers, like maybe that's easy enough to just switch to electric by the end of 2023. And everything else is going to be more of a time of replacement kind of thing. So yeah, I think we have a lot of information gathering to do to figure out what is achievable on that front. In terms of impact, I think getting, we sort of have more control over city operations, obviously, as a community, we can ban things, but if we can't enforce it or limit compliance, we don't have quite the same level of control. So I think on that sort of voluntary commitment side, it would be great, again, to get that university, county government, and the school district, all with their substantial, making substantial grounds engaged, maybe even some larger businesses that have, business campuses and different champions in the kind of business community, including in the lawn care sector, who are willing to, be on the vanguard of a transition and help demonstrate and show the benefits of that. So I really would like to get those stakeholders involved meaningfully.
Councilmember Dave Rollo replied that he believes some businesses might see this as the government trying to over-regulate them. He emphasized that they need to offer incentives to phase out the equipment.
in terms of the motivation that the city has to do this, with the city plans on doing it for itself.
Yeah.
Understanding that there's a cost to this. Stakeholders, certainly businesses have more cost probably, stake, and then hearing from them. I mean, I'm curious to know if they're already in the process of phasing that. I have no idea. Certain businesses might be interested already. I would assume some businesses are going to feel like this is government trying to, overregulate business. So having this idea of incentives, maybe part of the presentation saying that, we understand there's a cost to this, but we think there's a great public benefit. We would like everyone to be involved, and we're interested in how we would offset those costs.
The committee said they will aim to hold a public meeting to get more input on the strategy mid-February. On November 28th, the Ellettsville Town Council approved the 2023 Town Council meeting dates and a new account for the Youth Sports League. Council Treasurer Sandra Hash explained the reason for the new account.
We had tried this previous to you approving us working with the youth sports, and so I reworded it a little. We had originally asked to rename an existing fund, and I think that it's will be a cleaner bookkeeping process for them to have their own fund and their own checking account. So this allows me to create a non-reverting fund in the name of Ellettsville Youth Sports.
The council unanimously voted to approve the new account upon first reading. The council also approved a separate fund for the Next Level Trails grant.
Okay, so Denise brought me a reimbursement receipt that we will be getting money into the Trails grant, which also requires its own fund. And I would like to ask that you pass this on the first reading because we have money in transit. We've gotten the notice of the ACH. It just has not hit our bank yet.
The council unanimously approved the new fund on the first reading. Next, they tabled the second reading of the ordinance to fix the salaries for 2023. Hash explained the delay.
And I thank you for that. I wanted to explain publicly that we are having New Focus rewrite our personnel policy, and they, in that process, ask many, many questions about our salary ordinance. And they feel that any kind of compensation that the employee gets should be in the salary ordinance, so that includes insurance payments and, well, of course, the longevity and, the certifications, but also many other things. It just, everything that is a benefit to them, all the PTO, the hours they work, it's going to be a very big document compared to what we have, and it should be ready at the next meeting. So,
Hash explained what would change in the salary ordinance.
And the certifications will be in a separate category, and the longevity will be in a separate category. So, in the past, I have combined not the longevity, but the certifications for the base pay. So, yeah, it is going to be structurally quite different.
Town Attorney Darla Brown said that since the salary ordinance would be significantly different, the new ordinance would need to be heard again at the next meeting. And that is all for CATSweek. Thank you for joining us. For CATS and WFHB, I'm Annalise Poorman.